YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel, and today guys, we're gonna do a deck profile, and well, it's about time that we made it to max for the qualifiers, and we did it yesterday. With the means of the deck that I've been using, I was planning to make a tier element deck, but I got bored for a time. So I went ahead and went to Master Duel Meta.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Yeah, and I know people don't like, it's a copy-paste deck, whatever. Honestly speaking, I never thought that this deck would actually be good in the qualifiers. Now, this deck was actually made by a guy named Bear, and this is his deck list that he ran for the qualifiers, which I was quite intrigued with on how this deck really panned out. I really thought that this was, it was just a fun thing that he actually made just for the qualifiers, which I am interested in, although the Snake Eyes was just added here just for fun, or just to have a one-card starter and then play it off as a regular Snake Eyes combo. I went ahead and used the whole deck and then just edited some of the extra decks that it would synergize mostly with Fusion, Xyz, and Lake Monsters. So that was pretty good. I think the Link Kuriboh was just a miss on my part. I should have added Link Kuriboh there. The Turbo Logic was another good thing though, but I have the Zeus for my Xyz, so it wasn't half bad. Shocking as it is, it got me to the max level for the qualifiers. Now, since the whole duration with my run in the qualifiers and it got me to the max level, I made some pros and cons with the deck. So pros and cons, number one, deck has some good one-card starters like Rhino Heart, Ash, Devil Star, and Bonfire, and some other cards as well that can gain you some more advantage. Second of all, Sky Strikers is a really good recovery if ever your board got wiped on the next turn. So it is a really good card, and plus it allows you to draw one more card addition to the Sky Striker spell card. Third, the Thrust is a crazy good card if going second. It is a really good counter against Kashtira as well, since Thrust activates if ever their Shangri-Ira activates, and then once the Thrust is sent to the graveyard, the mandatory effect for the Arise Heart will trigger, and then I'll use the effect of Talents, and then later along go for Zeus, and then go for your combo on the main phase 2. And lastly, for the pros, Grass is a really good card since it triggers most of your monsters in the graveyard like Flamberge, tier element monsters, Poplar, and even the Treva Karma that allows you to gain access to most of your tier element spell or trap cards. So it's pretty good. Now for the cons. The cons are not that much, but it was a little bit of a problem on my side. So first of all, it is a 60 card deck. It will be inconsistent sometimes, but as what I've seen with my win rate, it was pretty good. There will be times that you'll have some awkward hands like 3 Maxis or 2 Bonfires, so that comes out like very rare. That's not really a problem. And lastly, the main issue with this type of deck is, or playing this type of deck, is Max C. Any type of combo deck really falls into a Max C, and it depends on whether you continue with your combo or not. Now, what we're gonna do now, since that is basically our deck profile there, and that is our main and extra deck, I don't want to explain that much. You know how Sky Strikers, Devil Star, Snake Eyes, and tier elements work. So all you need to do is just use like a 1% of your brain cells just to make this deck really work for the qualifiers. And that's what I did. So without further ado, I'll give you 6 replays with this deck. And yes sirree, I'll be narrating, but not to an extent. Let's go to the replays. Alright, so here we are with game number 1, and we're going up against Sky Strikers here. So first and foremost, I have 2 Rhino Hearts, a 1 copy of a Bonfire. So that's a pretty good access to Ash if ever that would be the case. My issue here is, since I have a normal summon, I can just use the Bonfire for a Poplar in case I got Ash or whatsoever, since tier elements or the Rhino Heart is a really good 1-card starter. I'll just narrate or talk about some things that are really important, and I'll be removing my face here so that you can see the whole gameplay as well. All right? Wow. Alright, so the thrust was unnecessary. I shouldn't have used that. I should have used that for the next turn. But it panned out quite well, I think, because I managed to get one card to the board. So as you might see here, there is a Harvey's Further Duster. It wiped out our back row. That was a bad choice on my part, using the thrust on that turn. Regardless, as long as the Masquerena was summoned and gained me access to Appaloosa, it was alright. Since I knew that it was on a Sky Striker or up against a Sky Striker deck, all we need to do is just negate the Kagari, the Hayate, and even the Shizuku. The Kaina isn't really a big issue here because it just stops us from attacking. It doesn't negate, so we don't want to use our negates on that one. So pretty good. It panned out perfectly for us. My only issue here is if he has a copy of Anchor, I should have lost immediately here. It panned out really good, and we managed to win the game after this. Okay, so that is our game number 1. Let's go towards our game number 2. And this is against Dinos. Okay, so Dinos are interesting in one way. First and foremost, people are immediately saying that once they drop a copy of Mist, it's game over for you. Well, it's not really. As long as you stop the effects of a Dino monster in the graveyard or your opponent's hand, they can still be stopped. It's just the field effects for Dinos that you can't stop. So please take note of that one. I think majority of the people already know about this, but some don't. So please take note of that one. Managed to summon a copy of Appaloosa on the field that can negate those kind of stuff. So the copy of Misk, once he wants to summon a copy of Archaeosaur to the field, it was stopped. I should have stopped when he tried to summon the level 6 monster, but it was alright though. Although he summoned a copy of Baron on the floor here, it wasn't really a big issue because once unsummoned, I can use the effect of Promethean Princess, pop my monster, pop his. He tried to use his effect to negate, but the effect of Appaloosa just provided me some backup. And with that, he managed to pull off his one last card to almost win the game if ever I haven't negated the effect of Baron the floor. So he got a double evolution pill on hand that he summoned a copy of Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. So he managed to lessen my life points to an extent, but I managed to pop it with the help of my Well in the graveyard. So it was pretty good. And that is our game number 2. Let's go to our game number 3. Okay, so here we are with game number 3. It's not that much. I mean, our guy is going first, and we're going up against Horus, a stun deck that's more, controlled with the Horus archetype. Anyways, this is what happens if you have grass and engage on hand. Typically, you just do what needs to be done. As long as you don't get ashed, you can actually send half of your deck to your graveyard and then trigger everything else. And this is one of the interesting games that I actually did. Okay, so here we are with game number 4, guys, and we're dealing with Vaalmonicas here. Our guy is going first. Our guy has an experience with Vaalmonicas, and he established a really good board with the cards that he has. So, technically, the problem with Vaalmonicas is once you remove the pendulum monsters, it's really rare that they can recover on the next turn. If ever they don't have a follow-up, then they can't even make a good board or even go for an OTK. So, I just let him do his thing. Alright, so this is the board that he managed to pull up. So a copy of one synchro monster that can negate and pop. The trap card that he has on the back row that can bounce one monster and pop one spell or trap. And then the link monster that can copy any Vaalmonica card or any Vaalmonica spell or trap card in the graveyard. So if ever that trap card will be sent there, he can copy it. And lastly, a copy of the Super Heavy Samurai that can draw until he has 3 cards on hand. So practically, all I need to do is just check first if he has an Ash Blossom just to continue on with my combo. Now my main issue here is because I was overthinking this and it led me to my misplay, which I used the effect of Snow early and then summoned the field, placing that monster face down. I should have just used or summoned a copy of Flamberge to the field so that I can just put that Super Heavy Samurai on the back row. But nevertheless, it wasn't really a big issue because even though I can't remove the 4K body on the field, all I need to do now is just set up a board that it can survive that turn and just remove the pendulum scales for that matter. Like I said earlier, Vaalmonica doesn't have a really good recovery. And as I've seen his extra deck, he has 3 pendulum monsters in the extra deck, and 1 in the graveyard and 1 banished. I know, yeah, 1 on the field, so that is the Angelo. The only remaining card that he has as a pendulum monster is the Demono, so he needs to search that one and then use the effect. The problem with that is he can't link a monster if there is no pendulum or there are no counters in the pendulum scales that he has. So all you need to do is just establish the board, and that's what we did to win the game right here. So that is our game number 4. Let's go towards our last game. Okay, so here we are with the last game. And this is just basically what will happen to Kashtiras if they activate their effects. So I just let this guy combo it off and then do my thing on my turn. Oh, as you might see here, look at that board. It's an amazing board. You have all the Kashtira monsters, plus a Shangri-Ira, plus a face-up Arise Heart with a ton of materials. It would be a shame if I drew it into a copy of Thrust, which we did. So it's automatically activated, or it's a mandatory effect for Arise Heart to activate if ever a card is going to be banished. That allows me to trigger my talents. Now my talents is going to take control of one Exe monster. And even though if he just banishes Arise Heart, it doesn't matter because I'll just have to take control of that Shangri-Ira. And that is the point where he just scoops the game. So that is our replays, boys and girls. I hope you enjoy this kind of content. Like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.